It's Monday, July 6th, 2026, and this is episode 363 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
All right, Dr. Mike, I'm back from yet another Las Vegas trip.
Jeez, you're living there.
I know, really. It's the first time I've gone within a period of like 2 or 3 weeks in a long time. You and I used to go like every other week back in the 90s. Yeah,
that was a bi-weekly thing.
Yep. But not as much to report this time. The reason for going was to play in a poker tournament at the Orleans with our good friend Bill from our poker group. You know, I like the Orleans. I really do. You know, it's nothing special, but the rooms are fine. They've got a Keno lounge. You know, it's always easy to get on a table. Their poker room is very well run. And in fact, Keno, overnight Keno, I was a big winner, Dr. Mike.
Treated you well. Yes.
Yeah, you know, I always fill out a 4 spot. And I play like 50 or 100 games. I wake up the next morning and see how I did. I did it twice, and I must have hit 4 out of 4 each time because the payout for a $50 bet was like $150 twice. So it's the only thing I won for was Keno.
Well, that just goes to prove, like I told you, it's a positive EV game.
Yeah, you've said that many years. I can't argue with it.
That's why it's disappearing, Mark.
That's right.
The casinos can't afford to have
money on it.
Keno. They lose money on it.
Bill and I actually drove separately. He got there a little bit early and spent some time with his brother who lives in Summerlin. But I met up with Bill and Jerry. Jerry and Bill are related through a bunch of different marriages. I won't go through it, but, you know, they're not blood relatives, but, you know,
they're marriage relatives.
Right. And Jerry lives in Las Vegas now. He used to also be part of our poker group, but I met them downtown. We played some craps at Circa. And then we said, you know what? Let's not play at Circa because the credit that we're getting there isn't really going to do much for us this trip. Let's go to a Boyd property because Orleans is Boyd. You know, that'll help for our rating during this weekend. Now, whether that was really true or not, you know, sometimes even though it's the same players club, they really look at how much play you've put in at the property you're staying at. I don't know. Maybe it didn't matter. But we decided, let's do Boyd. We went over to California Club first. That was too crowded. So we ended up at Fremont. And I know people are probably thinking, Fremont, craps at Fremont. They only have double odds. Yes, they only have double odds. But we ended up having a nice win, all three of us. And we had a great time. And there were good people at the table. And it was a lot of fun. Plus, you know, Fremont's the only casino I know of where they count the rolls. You know, there's this digital display that the boxman, you know, hits a button every roll and it shows how many rolls this shooter has. And, you know, there was one shooter we had got up to like 28 rolls, something like that. And of course, that's going to be a winning roll. So we had a good time down there. I ran into listener Patrick when we were at Circa. I had tweeted that I was going to be there. He tracked me down. This was interesting. He said that he actually worked on that side bet at poker tables. You know, I said that we've got out at Hamul, you know, where you can make a side bet, even though it's a poker game. And this side bet will pay off if the flop is like a straight or better. And he was involved in putting all that together, worked for the company.
Oh,
so
neat.
Nice to meet Patrick. Yeah. But after that first night, we were there basically for poker. I played a little bit of craps and poker before the tournament started. Let me just say right now, there was no more winning craps for me this trip. It was all, after that first night, it was all losing. So lose, complain. I was texting you the whole time. Just didn't go well.
Yeah, nothing really clicked, I guess, huh?
No.
That's the way it goes sometimes, my friend.
Yeah. But we both played in this tournament. It was a triple draw tournament for those familiar. The 3 games were Badoogie, Deuce to 7 triple draw, and Ace to 5 triple draw. And there were 6 players at each table, and you would play each game 6 times and then switch to the next game. I had a good enough time. I was eliminated fairly early and then re-entered. You were able to re-enter during the first 10 rounds, so there's plenty of time to do it. I re-entered, got my stack up pretty high, and then, you know, it just fell apart again. It reminded me of why I don't really like tournaments. You know, I prefer cash games. And I prefer limit cash games. When I'm playing the limit cash game at the casinos here, I always make sure that my stack is big enough that I'll never be going all in. I always have enough money for the maximum bets around. And, in the tournament, you've got to think about your stack size and how it's going. And maybe you loosen up, maybe you tighten up based on your stack size, even some of the decisions you make about drawing cards. So I don't want to say I didn't have a good time, because I did. It was a lot of fun playing in the tournament, and the dealers at the Orleans, the tournament dealers, were really excellent. So I did have a good time. Bill was in a similar situation. He was eliminated before round 10, and he re-entered, and, he was also eliminated. But anyway, had a good time doing that.
Yeah, same with me. Lynn had asked me, "Oh, how did Mark do in that poker tournament?" I said, "Well, he didn't get in the money or anything." And she said, "Well, maybe the players were good, And I said, "Well, no, I don't think they're any better than you or Bill. I think the bottom line is you got to get cards. I mean, so that's luck. I mean, what you're dealt, right?"
Yeah, the hand that really undid me, I wasn't all in, but it crippled me beyond recovery. It was me and this other woman. It was deuce to 7 triple draw. We were drawing to the same hand. Afterwards we found out, and she just got a better card at the end, right? Either one of us could have gotten that card, and she's the one who got it, and it was a huge pot, and she collected, and I was virtually out. So yeah, you're right. You have to get lucky along the way.
And that's why I was telling Lynn, you don't see a lot of people repeating.
No, right?
like, "Oh, I won this year, and 2 years ago I won," Now, a better player has a better chance to win or get higher in the money. But, winning tournaments or even, getting into the top 3 or something, you really have to catch cards. And we've all seen it where some people have won, like even the World Series of Poker, who are maybe not the best poker players, but when you're catching cards, you're catching cards.
Yeah. And again, that's why I prefer cash games. Once a hand is over, it's over, and you just move on to the next hand. It's like, oh, I was crippled. No, I've still got a stack, and I can buy more chips if I need to. And the next hand has no bearing on the previous hand. So I definitely prefer it. Anyway, again, I'm not dumping on it, because I did have a very good time. And then the next full day that we were there, Sunday, we decided to go down to the World Series of Poker just to check things out. We didn't plan on playing in any tournaments because we were both leaving the next day. But we did go to their cash games section. Bill entered a 1-3 no limit game, and I was going to get into the 20-40 mixed game. But when I went to the table, I put my name in. I went to the table. It was clear nobody was getting up from that table anytime soon. All the stacks were pretty big. And I thought, well, you know what? Let's go play some crapless craps. I haven't played any of that yet. Plus, I'm down for the trip. Let's see if I can recover. I'm not going to recover playing a 20-40 cash game. So I went to the main casino and played some crapless. It was actually going pretty well for a while. And I was thinking, boy, I sure love this. Playing crapless. And, I was hovering. Every once in a while, somebody would roll, a 3 and then a 2 and, followed by a 12. It's like, yeah, this is a lot of fun. But even that eventually wore out. Bill texted me at one point and said, "Hey, they're opening up another 20-40 mix game." And I thought, I'm having fun playing crapless here. Plus, I've had a few drinks, and, my poker's not going to be that great if I've had a few drinks. Anyway, this was a very fun trip, just not profitable.
Well, that's the way it goes.
Yep.
But still, you're up for the year, right?
I am still barely up for the year now, Mike. After that big trip that we had at March Madness, yes, I am still up. Yes.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're in July and you're still up for the year.
Yeah. Couple more things. When I was playing in the tournament, it was time for a break, and one of the players who was at my table came up and said, "Hey, are you Mark Duvall?" I said, "Yes." His name was Jeff. He knew that I was going to be playing in that tournament, and he was in town playing the tournament as well, and introduced himself. And it was fun talking with him because he has a home game as well with a bunch of different games that they call. He brought up his website, and it showed all the different games that they play. And there was even this spinning wheel at the website that you could start, and it would randomly pick a game. Like if they were sitting in the game, right? I thought,
Right.
wow, this is great. I said, I thought I put a lot of time into our home game as far as organizing and website and everything. And Jeff, man, he had this just down to a science. It was great. All these different games. You could click on a game and it would show you the rules. So great to meet Jeff. He was in from Utah, and I asked him, if he goes to Wendover a lot, and he says, oh, yeah, all the time. But
Now,
great
where
to meet you.
exactly is Wendover?
It's right across the border.
Off of Highway 15?
No, it's Interstate 80. So it's north of, like St. George when you come kind of that way on 15. Yeah.
Okay.
So for people who live in Salt Lake City, Wendover is like the most convenient place to come over and play.
Yeah. Okay.
And then that last night, Bill and I ate at the steakhouse at the Orleans Alder and Birch. That was a really good meal. I had prime rib. He had the surf and turf. So it was kind of a nice capper to our weekend. And then drove home Monday. Had a lot of traffic getting to Vegas. I was texting you. It took me a long time to get.
I couldn't believe how long it took you to get there.
Yeah, it was maybe closer to 6 hours. Usually you can do it in 4.5. So, it wasn't terrible. But then the drive home was fantastic, like 4.5 hours, no problem at all. So
Good.
So that was my Las Vegas trip. Now, you and I, Dr. Mike, before our next episode even, we're going to New Orleans. So just a reminder to everybody, we're going to be in New Orleans on Monday and Tuesday, July 13th and the 14th. We are staying at Caesars New Orleans, and we're going for the National Association of Casino Party Operators Conference. Again, that'll be Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday through Saturday, July 15th through the 18th, we're going to be in Biloxi. We're staying at the IP.
We won't be there all day Saturday.
No. Saturday we're leaving. So, don't expect
people are wondering.
Good point. Don't expect to see us in Biloxi on Saturday. Friday will be our last full night there.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we got an email from listener Sean W. Listening to the last episode got me thinking about kiosks versus employee check-ins. Maybe I'm just old school, but my Vegas trip doesn't really start until I walk up to the check-in desk, chat with a real person, and get my room keys. I always look for the happiest looking employee and strategically position myself to the end of their line. I usually try the $20 or more realistically $40 trick in hopes of scoring an upgrade or a better view. Over the years, when upgrades weren't available, I've been surprised with free play or extra resort credit instead. Even when nothing is available, I still think it's good karma to reward these hardworking employees with a nice tip. Mike, just on this last trip, there were kiosks at the Orleans, and I thought, no, I'm going to go up front. There were a couple people in front of me. I went up front, and, the person was very nice, asked me a couple of things which I probably couldn't even have told the kiosk that I wanted. She said, would you like a higher floor? And I said, no. I imagine most people prefer higher floors. And I said, no,
right.
I like getting on the elevator and having a short trip down to the casino.
Right. Well, I always ask for a room close to the elevator.
Well, that's the second thing she asked. Do you want one close to the elevator or far away? Sometimes rooms close to the elevator get elevator noise. So I understand that. But I said, no, close to the elevator. So she was able to do that for me, a lower floor and close to the elevator. Little did I know, I didn't realize this till later. They're doing some construction there at Orleans. In fact, there's a bunch of flyers around saying, pardon the noise. 2 sets of elevators, right? Which is kind of typical. The higher floor elevators, there was always a line, coming into the hallway to get on the elevators. The lower floors, never a line. So I love that.
People like the higher floors because they want views and stuff.
Right.
But, you're not interested in a view.
Yeah.
And I don't care if there's elevator noise because, once I'm asleep, I'm pretty
and, I run a fan. But anyway, another advantage of actually talking to somebody. All right. Yeah. Continuing with Sean's email. Speaking of karma donations, I just made one for our upcoming trip to Vegas to celebrate my wife's 50th birthday. Let's hope it works as well as the last one I made for Josh Duffy, which kicked off his streak of 3 winning Vegas trips in a row. And thank you very much. We actually mentioned Sean's donation on our last episode. One last thing about the check-in kiosks. As far as for when you guys build your own casino, I suggest adding a bill acceptor to them. This way, when people check in using the kiosk, they can select spin wheel for upgrades and insert cash. Your odds will be based on how much you insert, and prizes can range from a few dollars free play to upgrades for suites. This way, the gambling starts right at the front desk. Well, there you go, Dr. Mike.
Yeah. When I heard that, I thought that is absolutely brilliant idea. Every casino should do something like that at a kiosk.
Yep.
Certainly if they want to get people to use kiosks, right, instead of standing in lines.
Exactly, yeah.
Give them some incentive, have some kind of, it doesn't even have to be a money thing.
Right.
Just a will to spend that says, hey, 2 free drinks at the bar.
Right, yeah, something. It's
something like that.
Doesn't really cost them anything, right, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, on a future episode, we've got so much content right now. We are going to hear from a listener who went back and looked at all the things we talked about were going to be in our casino. So I'm now keeping track of everything we've mentioned since he sent us that email. That'll be coming up on a future episode, but this is something I'm going to write down as, we need it at our casino.
I'm patiently waiting for that because I thought he did like an awesome job.
You read it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to get to that soon.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for that email, Sean. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, we've got a ton of voicemails. Let's get to them. First up, our good friend Melanie.
Good morning. This is Melanie from Colorado with a long overdue trip report from March Madness. It was my first March Madness, and I feel so honored and delighted that I got to join Mark and Dr. Mike a bit for their first March Madness. Played with them at Palazzo. It was a $50 table, my goodness. So I was just playing the pass line only, but played a couple times there. It was wonderful to see you guys, talk with you, and see you again. And your rapport and sense of fun is just so great. It's great to be around you both. Played with Jim from New York, who was wonderful and amazing. Oh my gosh, he kept hitting that 2 and 12 and doing fantastic. That was super exciting to root for and watch. I have to do a shout out for Jim from New York for teaching me, or trying to teach me very patiently, how to play tiles over at the Encore. And wow, I still have the $2 bill you gave me. It's still in my wallet. It's never leaving. I just have to say what a kind, fun person he is too. So shout out to Jim from New York. That weekend, one of the highlights was going to Encore Beach Club on Friday and getting free on the guest list, especially if you're female. Sophie Tucker was playing, one of my favorite DJ duos. I've seen him a lot. Great show, but while I was waiting for it to start at the pool, and this is during the daytime, $15 craps, poolside with a direct view of basketball. I was over the top happy. Sunny day, great music. So yeah, that was definitely a highlight. Also watched some at the Overhang Bar down at Circa and Stadium Swim as well. I stayed at Paris. For some reason, Caesars continues to give me free rooms. I can't imagine this is going to last much longer. I was just in town for EDC weekend, May 14th through the 16th, I believe. Anyway, I had a free room at Flamingo there, but really didn't play at all except for the free play. But yeah, I went to Paris. They gave me a balcony suite in the, which tower was it? The one toward Horseshoe. But I mean, this is a private balcony with a full-on view of the Bellagio fountain. So I ended up watching a lot of March Madness, stretched out on the bed, doors open, balcony, the fountain's going off right outside my window. It was incredible.
Nice.
So had an absolute blast. Also went to Cozy, went to Martin Garrix at the Cosmo Pool. That one's quite a bit more crowded than Encore Beach Club. Still a good time. Anyway, hope to see some people. Oh gosh, this will come out after, but I hope to see some people on Thursday at Black Hawk, June 11th through the 14th. Had a lot going on. My parents have had some health issues, so I've been going to Kansas City and not gambling a lot more than Vegas. But we'll be back in Vegas the 8th through the 11th, going on a trip with my kids, so not much gambling opportunity there since they don't gamble. And I'll be back late the 11th, so I'll catch the group in Black Hawk on the 12th. And then I have a kid's birthday party to go to on Saturday, but I'm really excited to see everybody in Black Hawk. I am really just still happy about the March Madness trip and how much fun it was to watch basketball. So I did get second in one of my work brackets, so that was good. But yeah, Houston did me dirty in my other bracket. Hope you guys are doing great. And let's go Knights! How about that 5-4 win to start off the Stanley Cup Finals? All right, love the show, guys. Bye.
All right. Well, ultimately not too good for the Knights, but it was an exciting Stanley Cup final. Best wishes to your parents, Melanie. Hope you had a blast in Blackhawk, and good luck on your upcoming Vegas trip.
I was thinking when Melanie was talking, if she ever retires, she should have a YouTube show about travel.
Oh, yeah. She's a globetrotter.
Yeah, and she always does fun stuff. I mean, she knows where, she has some kind of knack of knowing where the fun things are.
Yeah.
Things to do that may not even cost a lot of money, but just are a lot of fun. She's got a natural talent for that.
Absolutely.
So there you go, Melanie. When the time comes, when you retire, that'll be your side job. Mark will be tuning TVs in a casino.
Right.
And Melanie will have this, she'll be some kind of famous influencer on YouTube about travel.
Yeah. In fact, during the tournament, Judge Judy was on one of the screens at the Orleans. It's the middle of the World Cup and baseball and everything. Oh, look, Judge Judy.
And you can't hear the sound.
There was no closed captioning. We couldn't even enjoy Judge Judy.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason to watch that is what just, the smart comments that she girls them with.
All right. Thanks for the call, Melanie. Next up, our good buddy Bert.
Mark, Dr. Mike, it's Bert from Virginia again. Hope you guys are doing well. Got a couple of quick trip reports for you. A few weeks ago, decided to redeem the Caesars rewards voucher to get back my airfare in free play. So I decided to book a trip out to Las Vegas. Under your recommendation from many years of listening to your show, I stayed somewhere I'd never stayed before, Planet Hollywood. Really, really enjoyed that spot. Thanks for the recommendation. The room was huge for a Las Vegas standard room, just a huge room. And the bathroom was gigantic. Had a soaking tub, standalone shower, just a really nice room. And the hotel is really located right next to the mall. So it was a really great spot to stay. Of course, redeemed my $600 free play. Pretty easy. They gave me all of it back. I think I had $580 plane ticket. They give you the option of machine play or you can get table play. I was going to do the table play, but I figured if I could turn the machine play into some money, it'd give me a bigger bankroll to play some craps. So I took it in machine play, found a dollar video poker machine. I think it was 9-6, I believe, double bonus poker. Ended up turning the $581 into $600 in cash. So almost a little bit more than full redemption.
Yeah.
So I took that in, played blackjack first, lost a couple of $100, I'm down to $400, maybe a little less. Decided, let's go back to video poker, see if I can turn that $400 back up to something to get a decent bankroll for some $15, $25 craps. You know what happened? Nothing. Lost it all. A bunch of .7s out, but it was all good. It was fun trying to play with their money. As far as my own bankroll, played a lot of video poker, played a little bit of blackjack, didn't really play any craps the rest of the trip, but ended up coming home with, a little bit of my money back. I didn't lose it all, but I lost most of it. But I had a really great trip. I want to give you listeners something to check out. Carmella's in Planet Hollywood has a $55 plated brunch. So you order off the menu, and it is really, really a great spot. The food was good. It wasn't a buffet, so you're getting fresh food out of the kitchen. It was a really good experience. So I would recommend if you're going to Vegas, you want a really good brunch. $55 in Vegas for all you can eat that's plated is pretty sweet. Other than that, been to the local casino a couple of times. Live in Petersburg is still a tent. It's coming along the building, but the tent is enjoyable. I go down and play video poker a couple of times a month, maybe once a week I've been down there. Pretty good. I've lost a little bit, won a little bit, but it's been fun. Otherwise, just looking forward to getting back to Vegas now. I think the first time I'd been in a while, and I think I got the itch again. So I'm looking forward to another trip back there, maybe at the middle of the summer when nobody else wants to be in the heat. I'll go and just enjoy myself. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Bert. Always good to hear from you.
Yes. And you know what? We're going to have to coordinate. Bert's going to have to tell us, when he's going to go on a trip. and meet him in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We struggle with trying to get meetups in other places, Virginia and what have you. But yeah, Vegas
Right.
is the center of
Yep.
gambling in the U.S.
Yep, and you're close enough.
Sure.
And if I know in advance, I could get a ticket and meet you guys there,
Yeah.
spend a day or two.
Yeah. I'm glad he mentioned Carmella's. Dr. Mike, as much as we love staying at and playing at Planet Hollywood, we
Right.
haven't really eaten there other than like fast food. We used to go to their
Right.
buffet all the time. That was one of our favorite buffets, but of course that's gone.
Right.
So yeah, Carmella's brunch, not a buffet, but all you can eat, plated brunch, $55. Great suggestion. Might have to check
Yeah.
it out.
That's not bad. I mean, I remember the days when that would have been, $9.99 or something.
Well, again, it's not a buffet, right? It's plated,
Right,
so it's
it's-
not meant to get you in and out fast, right? Because
Right.
you still
Oh,
have to
no,
order.
no. Yeah,
right?
you have to order, right? And if you want more, you probably have to wait in between.
Yeah,
meal.
the ideal thing would be, you get a plate of something and then you say, okay, here's what I want next. Put the order in. If
Yeah,
they let you
right.
do that before you've eaten it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Pat G. from New Jersey. Hope you're both doing well. I think you guys are together as we speak, with the graduation going on and hopefully doing a little gaming. I just wanted to update you on my exploit today in Atlantic City. My wife and I, we did a casino crawl, which we've never done before, but I'll give you some quick numbers. So we start up on the boardwalk, like 10 miles there, went into Ventnor, which is south of Atlantic City, and then went and hit 6 different casinos there. The rules were we had to go coin in $100 each casino, play a game together, but it had to be a different game at each casino. After those 6 casinos were done, we went over and did the 3 by the marina. We had a cabin to those, didn't want to bike. It was getting a little busy down here, or gritty, as it's been referred to, gritty in some spots. Anyway, the numbers, 10 miles biking, that was good. 9 casinos, $900 coin in, because we had to play 100 each place. It ended up a loss of $310. Took us about 4.5 hours, 5 hours maybe. So overall, real good time. Look forward to seeing you guys in the future somewhere. Take care.
All right, not a bad crawl. 5 hours.
Yeah.
And $900 in, you only lost $310. Yeah, nice.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked his use of the word gritty.
Yeah, he kind of struggled to come up with a word, and then, yeah, gritty. That's really what it
Gritty.
was, yeah.
I like that.
All right, next up is Uncle G.
Hey guys, this question is more for Dr. Mike. This is Uncle G, and I'm up here in the beautiful state of Minnesota for the first time, doing some walleye fishing. And I noticed I passed plenty of casinos, for example, on I-35 from Minnesota up to Duluth and then the northern boundary. And Dr. Mike doesn't mention going to Minnesota casinos. Why is that? Do they not have craps? I haven't stopped into any of the casinos because it's so beautiful out here on the lakes. But I did get hooked also on pull tabs. It goes to support a charity. Why not continue playing? But why drive to Iowa if there's plenty of casinos in Minnesota, Dr. Mike? Thanks, guys.
Well, thanks for the question. That is actually very easy to answer. So where we live in southeastern Minnesota, the actual closest casino would be in Wisconsin, just a little bit further past La Crosse, Wisconsin. However, that's like only slots.
And how long would it take you to get there?
Probably like an hour, maybe an hour 15. Now, if I'm going to stay just in the state of Minnesota from where I live, getting to one of the bigger casinos is actually over 2 hours. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2.5. So it actually turns out Iowa's closer, and Iowa does have live craps.
That's the other thing, right? No live craps in Minnesota.
There are no live craps
Yeah.
in Minnesota. There are some, bubble craps and video things, but no live craps in Minnesota.
Yeah.
There are plenty of casinos in Minnesota. They all tend to be well above Rochester, Minnesota. Well north, well north of Rochester, Minnesota. So closer up towards the cities or along the Mississippi, further north.
Yeah.
So that's why I go down. It's actually closer, and they do have live craps. So.
Yeah, in Iowa. Okay, good.
Yeah. Although the ones I've been to in Minnesota, they're fine. They're nice casinos. There's one that's huge, but they don't have craps.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Travis from Michigan. I just got back from just a single Friday night trip to Caesars in Windsor and wanted to give a little update because I don't know if I've ever heard anyone talk about it. Our room was about $210 US for the night, which I thought was pretty good for a Friday night. The table limits were somewhere between 20 and 25 Canadian, so that's like 15 to 21 US. I'm not exactly sure. The machines converted your money for about 4 cents a dollar less, but the cage did it for about 1.5 or 2 cents less. Didn't get to play a whole lot. We went to see Devo play, which was an awesome show. But overall, good time. I would definitely go back and can't wait to hear more from you guys. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, Travis. Yeah,
Thanks.
Caesars Windsor is definitely on our list. I don't think we are actively looking at going there, but it's a place we've always wanted to go.
Yeah, and if we ever get up that way for any other reason, I'd go. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And off the gambling topic, even if you don't like Devo, I think they're a lot of fun, but even if you don't like them, there's an excellent documentary on Netflix about them. You don't have to be a fan. It's pretty interesting. I would recommend it.
Okay, good. I didn't know that. I'll watch it. I like Devo's okay.
Yeah. All right, next up is our buddy Table James Games.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Table James Games calling in from State College, Pennsylvania, with a short report on the brand new Happy Valley Casino, located only a 10-minute drive from my house, which is a bit scary. It opened up a couple of months ago, and on Twitter, a few people were asking if I would talk about it on the pod. But as you know, Boring Jack will just bleep out anything that's not Las Vegas related. So I told the people on the Twitter that I would call in to You Can Bet on That and give a brief report.
Excellent.
It's quite a small casino, only about 600 slot machines and 3 small pits of table games. Let's start with the bad, which is their video poker is at the time only limited to the center bar, and the pay tables are pretty bad. At dollar single line, you can get 8 5 jacks or better, so not the worst, but no bonus poker is available except for on spin poker, which is 6 5. Not the greatest, but I guess I've seen worse. Let's move on to the good, which is that in Pennsylvania, we have wonderful blackjack laws. And so it's 3-2, surrender, etc. And there's a lot of blackjack tables that are available. However, the minimums, even during the week, are at $15 right now. I don't know if that's going to go down. Every time I'm there, it seems like they're pretty full. So I guess probably not, since there really isn't any other casino options within 90 minutes. I'm not really sure if the market will make those come down. Craps is only open right now on the weekend evenings, because they just don't have the dealers trained. They did say that that will change here in the next coming months as they get more and more dealers trained and up to speed on, that very, very difficult game of craps, as we all know. The last thing I'll say is the 2 restaurants are really good. We've enjoyed everything we have had at their main sit-down restaurant, and they have a little walk-up with pizza, burgers, fried food. The comp system right now is just points, so there's no tier system or anything yet, but I've heard that that is kind of their next thing with their Players Club, is trying to get some sort of tier system to, reward those degenerates. Like, I don't know, maybe Table James Games. But anyways, that's Happy Valley Casino in State College, Pennsylvania. And if anyone ends up coming through, hit me up. I'd love to go there and play really bad video poker pay tables and enjoy a couple of drinks. I promise that siren is not coming for me. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, James. Yeah, a players club that doesn't have tier levels. I've never heard of that. I guess I can understand when you're first getting it going, but that seems to be pretty standard when it comes to players clubs. Anyway.
Yeah, but it's probably just like everyone's the same tier now. So.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? You're, like you said, you're just earning points to spend
stuff, yeah. And since it's not linked up to any other casinos, probably, then that makes sense. That's where Penn State is, College Station, right? Happy Valley. So that's interesting that they have a casino near the university there.
Yeah, college-age students and casinos. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Thank goodness there was no casino
age-
by me when I was in
College age
college.
people with casinos and alcohol. Nothing could go wrong, Mark.
Yeah, we've talked about Pennsylvania and its great blackjack laws. All casinos in Pennsylvania have to follow the same rules. So yes, 3-2, surrender. And I think we got a call once from someone saying that applies to electronic blackjack as well. So
Wow.
yeah, great state if you like blackjack.
If you like blackjack, yeah. It's funny, with James living 10 minutes away. Can you imagine if you lived 10 minutes away from a casino?
It would be just so easy just to drop in.
You're coming home from the market.
Couple of slots, yeah.
Well, yeah. It'd be like, oh, I got an extra half hour.
Mm-hmm.
Pop over there. Yeah, that would not be good for me. That'd be like me having a house, in between Harrah's and Planet Hollywood, somewhere there. My
On the
house
strip.
is right there on the strip.
You
That's
held
my
out.
house.
You refused to sell.
Yeah, I refuse to sell. Oh.
All right, next call.
Hey guys, it's Scott in Florida. Had a quick trip report. Went on Virgin Voyages out of Miami. Nice little trip. We stopped in Key West and Bimini, the casino on Virgin. Pretty small, 3-2 games, $10 minimum, but they were continuous shufflers. If you wanted to go with a shoe on blackjack, you had to do a $100 table. They did have single deck blackjack, which was a terrible deal, 6-5, and only double down on 9, 10, or 11. And they only get you like maybe 3 hands, I don't know, maybe 4 if you're sitting there by yourself. So the single deck was not a very good deal. They've had Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker and craps and roulette. Sometimes you got to take some risks. I did the get even or get even worse, went to the high limit table, plopped down 300, which would get me even, and boom, got a blackjack the very first hand.
Nice.
So I went from down 300 up 150. I think I won 2 more hands in a row, betting about 100. I'm like, okay, no way I'm going to win 4 in a row, so I'll get out of here. We went to Bimini. They've got a small little hotel casino called Resorts World. Bimini is a little tiny island, hard to get to, so you would have to fly a puddle jumper, or you could take a ferry from Fort Lauderdale. But anyways, it's a nice little casino, kind of geared for high rollers. The lowest minimums at the tables were $100, at least that day. So I played some baccarat. That's my game, and won about $600 there, and then spent the rest of the day at the beach. And I recommend going to the fish market and getting the fried snapper. Okay, comes with the head on and everything. But anyways, it was a good trip. Smoke-free casino on Virgin. They got a little tiny smoking room with slot machines in it. It was a fun trip. Made a little money, and hope to see you guys soon. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, thanks, Scott. Sounds like a nice cruise.
Yeah, that sounds like a really nice one. Snapper.
Fried snapper. Yeah,
Fried
with the head
snapper.
on.
Yeah. I actually like snapper, but it's just fun to say snapper.
Oh, of course. It's like muckleshoot. It's fun to say.
It's like snapper.
Yeah.
How is the snapper?
Snapper. Anything that starts with SN.
Yeah.
Snapper.
Snack. One of my favorite things.
Yeah, snow. Snooker.
Snooze.
Snooze, yeah.
Snooze. That's a good. I'm going to take a quick snooze.
Yeah.
Who thought of that word?
I don't know that anybody thought of it, but good question, Dr. Mike.
I'll call into Way with Words and find out.
Who thought of that word? Who actually came up with it?
I want the exact name. How are you going to register a complaint? Snooze.
I thought you liked it.
I do like it. My complaint is that it's not used enough.
Oh, it's not used enough. Okay. All right, folks. Thanks for listening to that last 60 seconds of nonsense. Let's hear from the other Dr. Mike.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is the other Dr. Mike, and I just wanted to call in with a trip report from the trip to Vegas I just got back from. I spent 5 days there and explored 2 new properties and had a great time. I've always been a Caesars guy, and with all the changes, I thought maybe I should expand and diversify, and also I might as well pick up a couple offers while I'm there instead of just getting one free play. So I started off at Cosmo, and I'm a video poker player. I liked Cosmo. I was hoping I was going to get a handy at the Shandy, but I wasn't to be on this trip. But I also used that time to walk up and down the Strip and try some of the other MGM properties, and I think I'm going to give Park MGM a try next time. And then after a couple of days with Cosmo, I moved back to Caesars Land, but I tried a new property. I wanted to see what Vanderpump was all about, and I didn't really know anything about the whole Vanderpump thing going in. I was just like, hey, they redid the Cromwell. Let's see what it's like. And, well, it was an experience. It looked like the Cromwell got some kind of glam job by a teenage girl who had a lot of little dogs. It was a pretty weird place to stay, and it was nice, but I don't think I'm going back there again. But the good news is, well, MGM took my money, Caesar rendered unto me, and I wound up, the first day I was there, I was over at the Flamingo High Limit Room and hit a royal on dollar video poker, and then also wandered the Strip a little bit in Caesars Land because they were doing a multiplier I didn't even know about, but it was if you got 50 tier credits at every Caesars property, you got 7 times rewards credits back. So I spent the first night just walking up and down the Strip, checking out every Caesars property. Ate some great meals while I was there. Went to some of the usual spots I like, Amalfi and Binion's and Staunton Social. Then on my last day, I went over to Caesar's Palace and was playing High Limit and hit a second royal of the trip. Wow. So I wound up getting 2 royals on this trip, which was absolutely amazing. And then wrapped it up just spending a little time at the Venetian at the sports book. It was the Knicks were playing the Spurs in the NBA final, and I got to watch a game there. That was pretty fun, playing a little video poker at the bar, and just had a really great trip to Vegas. So looking forward to catching you on the show, and I'll give you a call next time.
All right, another great trip report. That sounds like a fun trip.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good trip. And I think first thing I'm going to do is text Dr. Taylor and tell him that Dr. Mike hit 2 royals.
Oh, yeah. And just, don't say it wasn't you. Just say Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike hit 2 royals.
Taylor's just thinking, I guess Dr. Mike likes referring to himself in the third person. I've never actually heard him do that before. But
you could do it and say, Dr. Mike hit 2 royals, Taylor.
No, I won't be a part of that.
The deception.
Yeah, it's the lying I don't like.
Yeah, I know. You don't like lying.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. Josh here from Illinois. Just giving you guys a quick trip report. Went to Vegas for my 40th birthday. Stayed downtown the first night. Had a good time at the Legacy Club. We stayed at the D for our hotel. Probably won't stay down there again. Just a little too loud for us. I know we went for my 40th birthday. You'd think I was 70, not 40, with me complaining about how loud it was. But we still had a good time. Gambling didn't really go all that great. Love Circa, love the bars there. But anyways, we ended up moving to the Luxor for a couple of days after that. Love the Luxor. Always get a nice, usually a suite there, if not just a regular tower room. I still think it's the best value on the Strip if you can get one of those nice tower rooms there. Gambling was great. They had $10 tables basically whenever you wanted all weekend. Maybe they'd move up to 15 when the table would fill up. But I'll tell you what, man, the gambling was incredible. And, I have to shout out, I think, my friend who unfortunately passed away a couple weeks before we were supposed to go. He was supposed to come with me on the trip. It was kind of a somber mood when we all got there. We were kind of walking around, talking about memories of him. He was just like our Vegas guy. Anytime I went to Vegas, he would be there. All those memories kind of came up when we first got there. But once we hit the craps table, I'll tell you what, I think he was behind us because basically our worst session, I think, might have been us doubling our money. A friend of mine also could make it out because of work. He sent me some money. He's just like, hey, I just want you to bet $100 on a pass line for me and play max odds. Did that the first morning. The Luxor dealers looked at me like I was crazy playing black chips at a $10 table, but, and I'm normally a $10, $15 player, so it was a little uncomfortable for me, but all I kept on telling myself is it wasn't my money. Double up our buy-in. I cash out. I text him. I'm like, hey, we doubled up. He's like, great. Send me back what I sent you, and you just play the profit. Well, $100 worked great that time, and I continued to play that $100 pass line, and if it was a 6 or 8, I'd max out behind it, and my best session, bought in for $700, cashed out for $6,500.
Nice.
Just an incredible trip.
Very
We couldn't
nice.
lose the entire trip. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. Thanks, you guys. Have a good one.
All right. Well, Josh, sorry about your friend, but it sounds like the trip
that's-
was a nice tribute.
Yep. Sounds like a really good trip.
All right, let's hear from another Josh.
Mark, Dr. Mike, this is Josh from Wisconsin. I just got back from Planet Hollywood sometime in May, at the end of May. I just wanted to give a little trip report and a few stories. Planet Hollywood was a good time. The prices were jacked up. It was EDM weekend. I didn't plan it like that. It's just my luck, you know. But other than that, I thought the prices were pretty good. They worked with me on the phone to get me 15% off, you know. What I played at Planet Hollywood was mostly roulette, and I had a great time, man. I like to bet $5 chips, and I'll bet inside and around. I'll stack the outside, and I'll put fives on the inside. So I hit 29 black, and I was hooting and hollering. I was having a good time. And after I collected my chips, I looked back out on the table, and my $5 chip is still out on 29. And I was like, whoa, did somebody put that out for me? Like, and they're like, no, you just didn't collect it. Do you want us to move it? And I was like, nah, I'll leave it. You know, sometimes they hit back to back. And the dealer was like, yeah, sometimes they do hit back to back. Sure enough, she spun the ball, bam, hit 29 again.
Yes.
Oh my God. I was on Planet Hollywood. I'll tell you what. I played poker over at Horseshoe the next day. It was a nice afternoon. I don't play poker that much. I figured Horseshoe was the place to do it, so I bought in at 1-2. It was a full table, and there's this guy who's betting weird numbers. He was like raising 49 and 26 and all these weird numbers he raised where you have to like break your chips to match him. Anyway, me and him are going head to head. I have king 8 and the flop is 6-6 king. So I bet a weird number myself. I'm like, all right, I raised 19, you freak, you know. And he calls and he's doing all sorts of, something's weird about this guy. I just can't read him. The next card comes out, it's like a 2 and raise, you know, call. We see the final card and I think I got it because I don't think he's got the 6, but I check it down. He looks at me and he says, do you have the 6s? And like I said, I'm a new poker player. I immediately said, no, I don't have the 6s. I don't know why it was so easy to get that information out of me, but I can't believe he asked that about me. He went all in, so he's got like triple my stack. And I'm like, whatever, you know. And I flip over the king 8, and he flips his cards. He's like, you got me. But I was like, what do I do there? I mean, do I stay silent? Because when he went all in, it scared me. I was like, oh, maybe I should have said yes, I've got the 6s. I've just never been faced with anything like that before, and I don't know what to do next time. Thank you guys so much. You guys rock. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's hard to say what you should have done there. It worked out for you. Yeah, you could say, yeah, I've got the 6s, or just keep your mouth shut. Or, you know, the fact that you said no.
Or say no.
Right, which he did, right? And, you know, the guy, does he believe you? You know, maybe you do have a 6 down, right? Something like that. No, I think what you did was fine. He obviously was a little strange and was trying to steal the pot there if he couldn't even beat, you know, you had a king rag. So, you know, if he also had a king, he probably had you out kicked. But one thing I would say is next time, if you're calling him, have him reveal his hand first, because you called him. You don't have to show your hand until he shows his. And then you might have had an idea of what he was trying to do.
That's always a stupid thing. Do you have it? I mean,
well, they're trying to read people. You know, I agree it's stupid, but it happens all the time. And I'm not going to fault someone for doing it, even though I think it's stupid.
Oh, yes, I have it. No,
Here, let me show you.
Yeah. It's not like the guy's going to give you a true answer. The best thing to do is to just answer real quick, yes or no. Yeah, no. You know, it doesn't matter what you say, yes or no. He's not going to. You know, I don't know.
It'll depend on the person. So, Josh, don't think too much about it. You played it fine, you won.
Right.
So
yeah.
What you're doing in with king 8, you know, maybe that's a problem. I don't know. It's not a hand I would play, but beyond that, yeah, you did fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't think too much about it.
All right, next call.
Hey, gentlemen. It's Jason from Michigan calling in on a couple things. Last episode, you guys talked about Dr. Mike's love for shakes. I want to call out a shake that I don't know if he's had before, but it's called a Boston Cooler. It's famous where I'm from, the Flint, Michigan area, and I know most people think of Flint as not a great place, but at one time Flint used to be a very, very well-known 80,000 GM workers type community. There was a chain of restaurants called Halo Burger, and they take a tradition in Flint as well from Verner's ginger ale, and they mix it with soft serve vanilla ice cream. If you've not tried it, and you can't get Verner's, just get your local ginger ale and mix it with some soft serve, and it's phenomenal. And then secondly, I'm finally heading back to Las Vegas, to your favorite location, the Golden Nugget. They've taken care of us for years, and we've always had a good time there. The one thing that me and my brother are still trying to figure out, but we don't investigate too hard, is for years now we've got a casino host, and he takes care of everything for us, from our rooms to our food. And we're not crazy high-rolling gamblers. I would tell you we gamble probably between $3,000 and $5,000 over 3 days, up and down. But for some reason, he checks in with us every year. He hooks us up, takes care of whatever we need, and is a phenomenal host. So we're going to keep riding that train as long as it lasts, and then I'll call you back with a trip report when we get back from Vegas, and hopefully we'll have some winnings. Thanks.
Great. Yeah, it sounds like you got a really good host.
Yeah, don't question it. If you
yeah. No, they should all be like that, because that's good for the casino. I mean, the casino's going to get your business. What, 3,000, 5,000, or 150,000, it's business, right? Yeah. And they get a good rapport, they get you back. So,
Mike, have you ever had a Boston Cooler?
No, I have not, but boy, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Ginger ale with soft serve.
Yeah. All
I
right.
like that.
Yeah. See if you got a soft serve place by you, they can make it for you. Bring your own ginger ale. Oh, go for it.
I had to bring my own ginger ale. Yeah. Mark, not just because he mentioned this, Len and I have seriously been talking lately about buying our own soft serve machine.
Oh boy. Oh God.
I was looking it up. I mean, you can get small ones, but you can get one a bigger size, maybe not as big as one that would be in a Dairy Queen, but one maybe half that size for $1,500 or something. And once you have it, all you have to do is order the mix.
Yeah.
Put in this. Oh God, wouldn't that be great?
That's all you have to do. I understand the convenience of having it at your home, but $1,500, how long would it take you to spend $1,500 on soft serve at the local Foster's Freezer Dairy Queen?
3 weeks, maybe.
About 3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah. No, it would be so nice. And then, we could rent it out for people who are having, at the community center.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They're having a
fundraiser,
a wedding or something. Yeah, fundraisers and stuff. Just, you want to use our soft machine for the night? Okay, $50.
Okay. Now it's kind of making sense. Keep me up to date on the progress there.
We'll make money, and we'll have a soft serve. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Just anytime you want. Yeah, give me a swirl. Now, do you call it a swirl or a twist?
Though, if I heard
chocolate vanilla.
Oh yeah, that's what. Okay, if it was chocolate vanilla, yeah, I guess I'd call it a swirl.
I call it a swirl, but a lot of people back here call it a twist.
Okay,
might be a Midwest thing.
Like soda, like pop, like Coke.
Yeah. Right.
All right, let's hear from our buddy Tim Lawson.
Mark, Mike, Tim Lawson, Better Life. How you doing? So, listening to the latest episode, and I was excited as I was listening to the part in which you were trying to access the pool at Stadium Swim, as I was like, here we go, like a gambler in the know taking advantage of law. This is great. And I was surprised to hear that Circa has this exception. And I'm surprised because I may be mistaken, but I could have sworn that we've heard of people who have gotten through that paywall area, the admission, because of that law. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I could have sworn someone in our community, whether it was a podcaster or otherwise, had made it to that area because of that law. My memory is horrible. Mark, you know that probably better than any of your listeners, but I thought someone had made it through that By the way, I'm leaving this message because you're so busy with retirement, you couldn't answer my phone call. So I was like, you know what? If I can't call Mark, I'm just going to call his hotline. Anyways, love the show, guys. Love you. Bye.
Yeah, I just hit ignore call. I was busy.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah. Just tell him you're on the toilet. That's what I tell people. Oh, I was in the bathroom.
Okay,
And it'd be rude to answer and talk to you while I'm on the bathroom.
I see. Okay, so that's a legitimate excuse for anybody. That you were on the toilet. All right.
Yeah. And I'm on it a lot, so
yeah, it's never a lie when you're the one responding.
It's probably not a lie.
I'll tell you, that does not ring a bell for me. I don't remember anybody saying they got into Stadium Swim that way.
When we were talking about that, I was thinking, like Tim, didn't somebody tell us they got in that way?
I mean, I got into Fontainebleau's area because of that. I wasn't staying at the hotel, but I said, hey, I want to gamble. And a guy escorted me over to the gambling area. Didn't just let me in. Wanted to make sure I wasn't
Maybe
trying to pull
that's
one
what
over
Tim
me.
and I are thinking of. Because now that you say it, I remember you telling that. That might be what we're thinking of.
Yeah, all right. But if anybody does remember, let us know.
We got to find a way around that.
Yeah, or just pay the $40.
Yeah, or just that's what Jack would do.
Boring Jack, that's his way around it.
Yeah, Boring Jack. Yeah, he's just why not just pay the $40?
Yeah, I found my way around it. I paid the $40 and walked in.
Why not? I'll never forget that in my whole life, the rest of my life.
They will allow you to just bet $2,000 on the 4 right away. You don't have to press it up. They'll allow that bet.
They'll allow that. Boring Jack.
We're going to hear from Tim again a little bit later on. Speaking of hearing from people again, let's hear again from the other Dr. Mike.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is the other Dr. Mike again. I called you a couple weeks ago from Vegas where I had a fantastic trip with 2 Royals. And I'll tell you what, did you ever have one of those months where you think you probably should retire from gambling? Well, I'm back at home and my wife is out of town and I figured I don't have anything to eat tonight. Well, they'll feed me at the casino. So I went by my local and sure enough, I was playing dollar jacks or better on a progressive machine and I hit the Royal and took the progressive jackpot. Man, I don't think I should ever set foot in one of these. I know I should never set foot in one of those places again, but I know I'm going to do it too. Hope you all are doing well and hope everybody has a month full of Royals.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say I should never step in that casino again after a win. I understand people who lose and say, I better not go to the casino. But he keeps winning and he's considering stopping? Well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's crazy talk.
My favorite part of that whole call, though, was they'll feed me at the casino. Boy, is that true.
And he meant really feed him. Like, seriously, the host sits down next to you and spoon feeds you.
Here's your food.
Here, open. Here comes the helicopter.
That's a good host. All right. Let's hear from Eamon.
Hey, gentlemen. Eamon here. Wanted to update you on a fun little story from a couple of weeks ago. So you may remember my friend Brian, who you met at March Madness in Las Vegas, who hit the $19,000 slot with me. Well, he was over here in London visiting for work, and we went to the Hippodrome. We decided to get some drinks and go down and play some video poker on the new machines that they just installed back in October. Now, Brian's not a big video poker person, but I forced him to play anyways. So after about a half hour or so, he's ready to go. He's just complaining, let's go play blackjack. Like, this isn't any fun. So I look over on his screen, and the video poker machines here have auto hold. Whenever you draw a new hand, it auto holds whatever the correct hold is. Sometimes I don't know if it's correct. I don't always trust it. But anyways, it dealt him 3 to a royal, and then like a second queen, and then like a 4 or something like that. And it auto held the queens. And I reached over and I said, nope, you got to change that. Always hold 3 to the royal. I don't actually know if that's the best strategy. I think we were playing double bonus. And so I changed it for him, and then he hit the draw button, and sure enough, hits the royal. So here it is a progressive machine. So normally he was paying £1 denom, so it was normally 4,000, but it was all the way up to 5,900 and some change. I am fairly confident that he is the first person to hit a royal on these machines, maybe in all of London, maybe even in the UK, because I don't know other places that actually have video poker machines. The reason I think that is I've been monitoring the Progressive ever since the machines came into play back in the fall, and they have always gone up. I've never seen them reset to 4,000. So that's pretty cool. On top of that, they don't actually take any tax winnings. So the hand pay was actually 5,900 and some, and they didn't ask him for any tax forms. Now, I know he should declare that in the States, but a nice thing about the UK, no taxes on gambling winnings. He was kind enough to tip me 10% for changing his hold because he would not have. He was just kind of put on autopilot trying to run out his money with the auto hold going. So that was cool. And then one other thing that I was curious about that is relatively new here, I don't think I've seen it in the States, maybe I just never used these machines, is that they're popping up in the casinos where you don't need to go to the ATM so much. There's machines that you can just put your debit card in and they give you a Tito. They have a maximum of 300, so it's probably not for someone who wants to play big denom or anything like that. But, you don't get charged. It's really quick. It's a small little machine, and you can just take your ticket, go to video poker, start playing, or just take it to the cage and cash it out if you want. So I thought that was like a nice little touch that we have here, which I don't know if I've seen in the States, but correct me if I'm wrong. So anyways, having a good time over here. Take care.
Yeah, I have not seen those here. A machine where you actually run your card through it to buy a Tito voucher.
But they should have.
It would be nice. There's always talk about putting credit card readers on slot machines, which would be horribly dangerous, but I guess this is not too bad. It's kind of like getting a cash advance, except according to Eamon, they don't charge you. And it's just a Tito ticket that then you can take to the machine. Anyway, if anybody has seen those in the United States, let us know. I have seen the video poker machines with auto hold. They used to have them out here at Verona, and they are not always correct. It'll tell you what you should hold on to. Usually it is correct, but this was a case when it was not correct. It said hold the queens, and the right move is to hold 3 to the royal, and it certainly paid off for Brian.
Yeah.
So, congrats.
Probably auto hold, though, is set to, if it's a winner, they just hold it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you're right, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's queens, right?
Right.
So you're getting your money back.
Yeah.
And, well, if it's a winner, we're keeping it.
All right. Let's hear from Original David.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Dr. Mike. This is Original David calling in with the trip report from the unofficial 360 Vegas community meetup. Other podcasters have already talked about the meetup events, so I won't go into many details on that. Suffice to say, it was a great time meeting up with fellow listeners across the podcast community. Some people I had met at previous meetups, some only by the internet handles, and still others who were complete strangers. One thing for sure, though, is although we may come from different generations, backgrounds, and walks of life, our love for Vegas and gambling transcends all boundaries. Outside of the social meetups, a small group of us also went to the Neon Museum, and it just goes to show Vegas is more than just a strip or downtown. I highly recommend building in time to your trips to explore the city if you can. This was my first visit to the Neon Museum, and it was amazing to see history coming to life through the signs that they have. It was especially cool to see the Hard Rock Cafe sign at dusk light up. And now to the part of the trip that everyone wants to hear about, the gambling. The Cosmo has a new Bubble Craps gimmicky game called Destroyer Naval Strike. It's basically a cross between the childhood game Battleship and Bubble Craps. I had seen a short clip on YouTube before the trip and wanted to give it a go. So I roped in listeners John B. and Andrew into giving it a go one night. We played a couple rounds just so we could say we tried the game and ended up breaking even. It's a nice novelty, but I don't think it'll have much staying power. I think there could be some play to churn through tier credits, but I forgot to see what the tier accrual rates were playing through the game. As for the rest of the gambling, you know how every once in a while the gambling goes just right? You go through a run of trips where you lose some, if not all of your bankroll, but then you get a trip where it seems you just can't lose. This was that trip for me. I like to allocate part of my budget for each day. I was in town from Saturday to Wednesday, so a total of 5 nights, which is the longest trip I've ever made to Vegas. Started Saturday night at the Cosmo, hit quad threes and ace kicker on double-double bonus poker for the first decent win, and then ended up playing with Saturday's budget money for the entire trip. Every day was at least a small win. I hit my second royal ever, and my first hand paid the shandy, First world problems, now I have to file a W-2G. But this also now makes a royal on both of my last 2 trips. Not saying it'll happen again, but going 3 for 3 will be nice in my next trip in November. I did end up playing down a lot of the wins that I had, so even though I did hit that royal, I ended up playing most of that back down. But I was in Vegas and I was up, so why not? The bonus of this entire trip was I did ask a host to review my play, and they waived my resort fees and taxes for the room. This is the first time they've actually done that when I've stayed on an offer. Overall, it was a great trip, and as always, cannot wait to go back. Meeting up with other listeners from the community definitely makes the trip even more memorable. I'm planning to keep it up next year and scheduling another event, so hope people will take the plunge and come on out for that. As always, thank you for everything you guys do, and hope to play with you guys at some point again in the future. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for planning that trip, David. I know the community really appreciated it. We couldn't attend because Dr. Mike was here in town, but it sounds like you had a great trip, and it was good to see everybody again.
Yeah, it's always good when everyone can get together, and a lot of times it takes somebody with a little initiative to organize that.
Yeah. And then, that Destroyer Naval Strike game, we talked about that back on episode 360, along with some other, they call them electronic table games, although they're certainly not table games. But they have shown up at Cosmo and at Circa, so go back and have a listen to that. We didn't have very much information on it, to be honest, but there were a couple more games from the same manufacturer. All right, one more call. Let's hear from Tim Lawson again.
Yeah, hey guys, Tim Lawson again. I'm curious, it's hard to do this sort of after the fact, but humor me if you will. If you had to guess what circumstance in which this law would have an exception, would you have guessed that a pool area would have been it? I was trying to think, I would have guessed maybe an exclusive high limit area or something. I was trying to think of where would I have guessed this exception be applied in Nevada or Las Vegas had someone told me before I learned that Circa had this exception for Stadium Swim. I'm curious, Mark, since you're the one who experienced this, I mean, of course you were surprised that there was an exception, but would you have guessed that it would have been a pool area to get this exception over, say, a high limit area or some other area where maybe security is a concern? I don't know. Curious your thoughts on that. Okay, bye.
No, I wouldn't have guessed pool. I would have guessed nightclub. If there was gambling in a nightclub, I would have guessed that's where the exception would be. Oh, yeah, you have to pay to get into the nightclub, whether you're going to gamble or not. Yeah.
Well, the way I think about it is it wouldn't be in a high limit, because if you're going to go in there to gamble and you've got the money, right, to gamble in a high limit, they wouldn't have a problem with that.
Right.
I think it's the fact that they probably got an exception because they don't just have a pool. They have a pool with massive screens, and it's something that most casinos don't have.
Yeah, if you had told me, okay, there's an exception and it's a pool, which pool is it? I probably would have guessed Stadium Swim, yeah.
Right, because there's more going on than just, getting a cabana or sitting by the pool or something.
Right. All right, we got through all of our voicemails, so let's wrap up this episode. Again, we're going to be in New Orleans and Biloxi before our next episode. We're going to try to get our next episode out on that Monday. It would be the 20th of July. No promises, though, because we get back on that Saturday. We might not have time. We might be exhausted, but we'll still try to get it on that date. And hopefully we'll see some people in New Orleans or Biloxi. And we want to thank some people for some recurring donations from Brian Dancer, from James M., from the International Brotherhood of Gobbling Donkeys, and from Tim S. Thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got a donation from Original David that we heard from earlier. Just posted a donation via Venmo for the podcast and Dr. Mike's Community Fund.
Yes, thank you very much, David. We received that, and that's very generous of you.
Hit another royal this trip, so sharing some of the good fortune. Thanks as always, and we'll try to call in soon with a trip report for the unofficial community meetup this past week. And we did hear that report from David. Also a donation from Nick, Karma donation for an upcoming Vegas trip, Love the show and looking forward to listening on the plane. Nick from Colorado. Thank you very much. And finally, a donation from Jeremy E. Thank you very much for that donation. All right, so as most listeners know, we share a merchandise store with Tim Lawson and The Better Life. He has an announcement. We have a couple of new items in the Better Merch store. First, a new t-shirt that celebrates America and the never-ending desire for a royal. Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of a Royal Flush. Currently available in 2 shades of blue. If you want a different color, email podcast@thebetterlife.us, and I can arrange that for you. Second, Better Santa is back for another year. If you'd like a small gambling-themed gift set to open at Christmas, lock in your Better Santa now. And again, that's bettermerch.com, BETTOR, merch.com. Hey, on our webpage, you'll find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television in the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. If you're looking for a movie to watch, check out our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. If you want to listen to songs with gambling-related lyrics, check out our You Can Bet on That Spotify playlist. Just click the link towards the top of our webpage. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can simply email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Dr. Mike, what do you got for us?
Well, Mark, I wanted to talk for just a brief second here. I know this has been a long episode, but I kind of am set in my ways about a lot of things.
Sure.
But when it comes right down to it, I will be willing to change when I think something is worth changing for.
Okay.
And what I'm getting at here is the World Cup. I have been watching a lot of the World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen every game of the round of 32 and a lot of games in match play before that.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, I've always said, soccer's kind of boring. Soccer is not boring.
I've been watching a lot of games as well, Dr. Mike.
And they are excellent.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that impresses me is how these guys handle that ball.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with their feet, it's like unbelievable. And I know we're looking at the best of the best here at the World Cup, but they're just amazing. And the games, I don't know if you saw last night, Portugal against Croatia, but maybe the best game I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. In Croatia, it looked like they tied it up like at the... Yeah. Like you expected the game to end at any moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
it was just...
It looked
just
like they'd
crazy.
scored and they pulled it back. Yeah.
And then some of the games that had penalty kicks, just so exciting. You think it's, he'll make it for sure, and they miss, or, the goalie, it gets by it. I mean, very exciting. And I'm going to say right now that I'm going to take everything bad about soccer I've ever said. It can be very exciting. Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Good. I still have some problems with soccer. Number one, the timekeeping just drives me nuts, right? That's the kind of thing.
Like the game last night, I didn't know how much time was left.
Right. Nobody does.
You're just sitting there.
Even a player, how much, you can't make that last minute shot, right? Because there's only 2 seconds left. All right, that's one thing. And this is not really a problem with the game, but the histrionics. Oh man, some of these guys falling down, and
what's funny is they fall down, they grab their leg. And then if the ref just says play on, jump right up.
They jump right up, yeah.
It's like, I didn't get the call. Okay, they jump right up. Getting kicked in the leg hurts.
Oh yeah, there's some there's some legitimate injuries. There's no question, but yeah.
Yeah, and for me, in the past, it's always been the slowness of it.
Sure, right. And like the lack of scoring. We like scoring as Americans.
When one team's just passing it back and forth. Yeah. I think if they put a shot clock in.
Yeah, that might.
And it's not so much as taking a shot, but like you've got to cross the center line, the midfield line, in a certain amount of time once you get the ball. They kick it over, and then they kick it back, and then they kick it over, and then they kick it back. Trying to set things up, I understand, but it slows the game down. So for me, that would be nice. But I just want to admit that this has been very, very fun watching these games.
Good for you, Mike. It takes a big man to admit he was wrong, or at least that he's changed his opinion about something.
I've changed my opinion about soccer. Now, am I going to watch some game on ESPN some night, when it's just a league game or something?
No.
Probably not, because I'm not a fan of any team. But if I had a team near me that I was a fan of, yeah, I'd be watching it. Anyway, just wanted to, it's not really gambling related. I guess it kind of is, because you can bet on these games.
You can bet on that.
But anyway, that's what I've got for this week.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk again, hopefully in 2 weeks, around 2 weeks after our trip. We'll have a bunch of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, maybe it's just a day or two late.
Yeah. All right, so long.
Good night.
This is what we do.
I know.